What's going on, people? It's your boy Topps back again, live on T-Chanto Sports, and today we've got a special guest, man, making his debut on the channel. I'm so glad to announce Sal from the Stratford Post, man. Sal, big up yourself, bro. Big up for being on the channel. How you doing, my friend?
Big up, Tots. What's going on? I'm glad to be here, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. No worries. Definitely wanted to get you on the channel for a long while. And this weekend just seemed like the perfect opportunity, man, because again, Arsenal versus Man United. And for me, this is the kind of fixture I look forward to the most because growing up, these were my that's it. For me, this is what I look forward to the most, man, because like I said, bro, growing up, Thierry Henry, Ruud van Nistelrooy, whether it's Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira, these kind of duels and obviously competitions between each other, man. This is what I grew up on, and Man United gave me some heartaches in the end, bro. Like really bad heartaches, man, when it comes to like losing 8-2 or whether it's going for the title and it's on the last day. I remember in 1999, it was the last day, and obviously we ended up losing to you guys. You won the treble, and then you knocked us out the FA Cup, though. Yeah, crazy things that happened during this period of time, man. But bro, I want to get into kind of you guys, man, and obviously your kind of journey as being the Man United fan. I want to take me back to how you even start to become a Man United fan. I know obviously people have different journeys. Some people are from Manchester, some people are not. So what's kind of like early memories of how you became a United fan, bro?
It's taking it way back, man. I'm a Cockney Red, so I'm from London originally. My best friend was a Man United fan when I was at school in the late 80s. Good, it's showing my age here. But in the late 80s, gave me a bunch of VHS tapes, watched the VHS tapes of Man United in the 1960s and the 50s, and it all sort of fell together. Went to my first game in 1990 against Crystal Palace at Wembley in the FA Cup final. Ian Wright was playing for Crystal Palace at that time, you know, a free drop. And that from there, just went from there, and it just went from strength to strength, becoming a Man United fan. And fell in love with the history, really. You know, I always believe that football teams, they pick you, you don't really pick them. I think it just sort of, because everyone at my school supported Arsenal. Everyone
really?
Arsenal. Yeah, I was from East London, so everyone supported Arsenal, a couple of West Ham, maybe one or two Liverpool, but no Man United apart from my friend. And it was my best friend, so I became a Man United fan. Not just because we were glorious, because we wasn't then. You know, there's a lot of people who started supporting them because we started winning things and stuff like that. But yeah, man, good days, good times. And that's how I started, really.
Nice one. So yeah, in the 90s, FA Cup final. That's the one. Is that the one you won as well? In the replay, did you win?
Yeah, in the replay. Went to a replay. We won the second leg. A difficult game, to be honest with you, but squeezed into that Wembley Stadium, guys. Tops with my dad.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was bad back then. Yeah.
Is that the old Wembley as well before they kind of
the old Wembley, the good Wembley.
That's it, man. That's it. Crazy, man. So yeah, that's actually good, like a little bit of insight in terms of how you became a Man U fan. Like after obviously you became a fan, was there any kind of play that you kind of gravitated towards? Sorry, obviously for me it was obviously Thierry Henry for Arsenal. So who was kind of your kind of go-to guy during that period of time, or did it change when obviously you got different managers and different players, bro?
I had a few. It's in different eras. I mean, I was a big Paul McGrath fan originally. Initially, I loved Paul McGrath. He was my player. It went on to Andre Kanchelskis, who I liked a lot. He was one of my favorite players because I always saw myself as a kind of winger, pacey winger. Peter Schmeichel, I ended up becoming a goalkeeper. So Peter Schmeichel was, but they didn't do anything. I wasn't tall enough, but you know, and he ended up being my favorite player. And then obviously Eric Cantona, you know, it just sort of through the years, Eric Cantona became my favorite player because he became the most important player at Man United. But initially it was Paul McGrath. I love Paul McGrath. I mean, Gordon Strachan as well at the time was a good player. And obviously Brian Robson.
Yeah.
So Brian Robson as well. So I haven't got any, I can't really pinpoint one player, but there's quite a few there that stand out, like Brian Robson, Paul McGrath, Gordon Strachan, Eric Cantona, Andre Kanchelskis, and Peter Schmeichel probably. Those are the bracket of the players that warned me towards Man United, you know, back then.
Yeah, nice one, man. Nice one. Definitely I like kind of your like range of kind of plays as well, like different positions, different types of plays as well. So that's very, very interesting too, man. So during this period of time, like were you going to games like on a regular? Obviously, you mentioned the FA Cup final. Was it a thing where you're trying to get to games when you can, or is it a thing where you're just kind of more watching on TV during this period of time, bro?
Initially, I was trying to get to games when I can. Obviously, living in London, it was quite difficult. I was young as well. Come from a working class family. So obviously, I couldn't really go to every single game. When it came down to London, I would try my best to go to games. It wasn't until the mid-90s when I got my first season ticket that I started going to games more potently. But the London games were the ones I looked for, whether they United would go down to Arsenal, whether United would go to Palace or Wimbledon at Selhurst Park. Those are the games that I would go to and wait for those big games. And I tried my best to get there. Obviously, it's expensive going up to Manchester at that time, especially. But it was until we went after 1995. I got my season ticket and then started going quite often and abroad as well. Up then.
Oh, wicked! No, any kind of away day stories you can think of that kind of come to memory?
Lots, man. I got lots. I mean, I got lots. I mean, when you're growing up, when you're a kid, it's different. But when you're more grown up, you do see a lot of things. I mean, I'll give you an example. I went to Lyon away, and what happened is that when you go to Man United game away from home, you have to I get the overnight coach up to Manchester Airport and. From London, and then you'll meet up with the fans at Manchester Airport, and then they'll take you to the city centre of wherever they're going to be playing. So you go to the city centre, like this example is Lyon, and some Man United fan is always got a football, right? And kick the ball in the middle of the square in Lyon. It's just an example, and started playing football with the locals, right? And unfortunately, some of the locals were technically more gifted than us Man United fans.
Makes sense.
One of the fans was nutmegged, and this just went nuts. So one of the Man United fans, he kicked the other fan, and it went, oh god, I tell you, those sort of things happen all the time. There's a lot of things. Roma away was a mad one that's happened. Loads of mad stories, to be honest with you. Wow. Most of them good. There are a few that stand out. Honvéd away in Hungary. That was madness. It's way back. That was in the 90s and stuff. So but the Champions League final, I was at that one. Slept on the beach in Barcelona. Oh, wow. Yeah, no hotels available. Got a coach down to Barcelona. No hotels available. Clubbing all night because there's no hotels available. Yeah, and got the coach back, but it was well worth it. Trust me, it was worth it.
I can imagine, man. I mean, just obviously going to that game, man. What was your thoughts going into the game and obviously during the game? Because guys, you were 1-0 down to the 90+ minute, and to win it in overtime, I think is very underrated kind of achievement. But I don't think people realize how mad that is in the Champions League final to kind of be 1-0 down with minutes to go, and then you actually win the game in the actual normal game. So what was your feelings going into that game? Like, what's your thoughts and stuff like that, bro?
Worried a little bit because we were missing Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, two of the talismen of that season, and I was a little bit concerned by that, but. I don't know, but it's just something in the air that night and that season. To be honest with you, I felt a bit confident because we played Bayern twice that season, drew twice away from home and at home. But Roy Keane and Paul Scholes was worrying me a little bit. Obviously, we had to change what was a great team. We had to move Giggs to the right. Beckham had to move to middle. Blomqvist had to come in on the left. And it was a completely different side. So I was a little bit concerned by that. Thankfully, we had quality in the side. We had Dwight York, Andy Cole, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Teddy Sheringham, which was, you can bring them on to save the day. But I was a little bit nervous, but excited at the same time. Champions League final first time, for me. And it was a great time. It was a great time to be alive. The real treble, I would say, that was the proper treble, mate. The teams that we played back then.
For sure, man. Even the way you did it, like I said before, the fact that you beat Arsenal on the last day of the Premier League season, then you knocked them out in the semi-final of the FA Cup. So you were kind of beating the best other teams that didn't win anything that season to kind of solidify your kind of state as being like the best team in the world kind of thing. So I definitely agree with that, man. Just go back a little bit. So obviously you talk about your favorite players. You've been to a couple of games. What was your kind of feelings when obviously Sir Alex Ferguson was made to be in charge? I know there's kind of mixed feelings where obviously I wasn't around during this period of time where people were saying he's very close to losing his job, and obviously it already took that kind of one goal and then kind of turned everything around. So what are your kind of thoughts on Sir Alex and again going into kind of what would end up being like probably the best dynasty in terms of football, definitely English football I've ever seen. So what do you feel about Sir Alex before he obviously turned it around and got all these titles, bro?
Well, I was very young, so I wasn't very aggressive with Alex Ferguson out. Obviously, there were banners around that he was going to get set. Obviously, the famous Mark Robins goal against Nottingham Forest. Obviously, talked about a lot. But I was never Alex Ferguson out. There were banners there that, you know, he's out of his depth. I mean, he did go 4 or 5 years without a trophy. So, but, you know, this is why I always support the manager, Topps, because, you know, we have a severe lack of patience in the fan base. And whenever we're trying to build something, this is why I'm saying, even with Ruben Amorim, I'm trying to say, like, listen, like, he's trying to build something, you know, just like Arteta is doing at Arsenal, and he's doing it fantastically well, whether he's won something for 4 or 5 years or not. Arsenal are now slowly becoming, look, this may sound controversial, what Man United were. You know, you're going to start, I mean, and it's only going to take that spark for Arsenal to go on this relentless winning run and trophies, because they're so patient with them, with their manager. And even though you had, you know, very aggressive fans telling them to get out of the club and stuff like that, they still stuck with him and everything, you know, and that you're feeling the fruits of your labor. Now, you know, but back then it was exactly the same. You know, you need stability, and not many of our fan base have the patience to have that. They talk about standards, but they don't understand what it takes to get to standards. Standards don't just happen overnight. I've said it many times. You know, Olympic sprinter doesn't just go out one day and can run fast. You know, you have to practice. You have to practice, and that's exactly what it is with Manchester United. So I was always on, obviously, Alex Ferguson's side. I was very young. I was a young kid, so I didn't really understand what sacking managers was and all that. I just thought he's a Man United manager. He's always been a Man United manager and stuff like that. So yeah, it was thankfully they didn't listen. Thankfully, Mark Robins got that goal. Whether he would have got sacked or not, that's up in the air. But it would have changed the course of history, definitely. And Man United probably wouldn't be the team that they are. Well, they wouldn't be the team that they are right now. Definitely not. Because at that time, we were 20 odd years without a trophy. 20 at that time, 1990. So we were like 24 years without a trophy.
Wow.
So 26 years we ended up winning the league after 26 years. We're halfway there.
Yeah, legit, man. It's crazy when you think about that, because I did read like a stat saying I think Man United had less titles during that period of time than Arsenal. And you think about it now, how much you kind of surpass us in terms of how many titles or more titles you've got now. That just shows how much kind of work Sir Alex Ferguson did during that period of time. Like, what was your feelings like when you're winning trophy after trophy? I mean, there's so many trophies you've won when it comes to three-peating twice in a row, the treble winning season, the double in 2008. Like, what's your thoughts with all the kind of the teams? Like, what's your kind of maybe your favorite period or your favorite kind of teams that obviously Sir Alex Ferguson like built up? Like, what kind of your memories through all this kind of winning kind of era that you had, man?
I would say like there are 3 eras. Obviously the '94 team, which I felt was unfortunate because in the Champions League that time you can only play a quota of foreign players, and it was difficult for Man United to play their full team. And I believe that Man United team would have won the Champions League definitely, but definitely 98, 99 because of their perseverance. Not necessarily the most talented team, not even in Europe, I believe, but it was a team. You know, even compared to Arsenal. They had probably more talented players than us. I just feel like we had this, you know, team ethic, that, you know, never say die attitude that got us through. Obviously, the 08 team. I mean, that is probably the most talented team. I mean, Ronaldo, Tevez, and Rooney and stuff like that was incredibly talented. It was a good time, man. It was a good time. Never got to enjoy it as much as I should have enjoyed it because it sort of became the norm, and you sort of like expecting it and stuff. I was quite a humble lad. I never used to gloat and rub it in people's faces and stuff like that. Maybe I should have. Yeah, looking at it now, I enjoyed it, but also stressful, mate. Every single week there's a big game, and you're getting nervous, and you're getting up for the game, and every single week you got a Champions League semi-final. You know, that treble season took a lot out of me, honestly. You know,
I can imagine, man.
Game after game after, not only the Man United games, the Arsenal game as well. And you have to watch their game, and then you have to watch our game and stuff. And that happened on more than one occasion. I have to shout out Arsenal because Arsenal and Man United back then, we elevated each other. Yeah. And I felt like we raised the bar. We kept raising the bar. Arsenal raised the bar, you know, with the dietitians and stuff like that. And, you know, we're leaving the Premier League behind, to be honest with you. And then Man United had to raise the bar, and then you raised the bar again. And I think that all led up to that 2008 team. And what's great about Arsenal and Man United is that none of it was given. It was made organically, which was good. You know, we spent our own money to do it, and you know, I have nothing but respect for Arsene Wenger when he came in and what he did for English football and Premier League football. And, you know, bringing in the likes of Dennis Bergkamp, Mark Overmars, Emmanuel Petit, Patrick Vieira, and those team players into the game. And, you know, and without each other, I don't think Man United would have elevated to the level that we elevated to. You know, we had to, because you could stagnate if you don't have any competition. And I felt that we were going to stagnate. And it was because of Arsenal that we got to that level at the end of like, for example, if it wasn't for that FA Cup semi-final in 98-99, I don't think we would have won the Champions League, because it was the way we won it. 10 men, you know, fighting through, got lucky a couple of times. And I think that gave us the confidence to go on and win the Champions League. If we just easily won the league and easily won the FA Cup, I don't think we'd have come back against Bayern Munich that night.
Yeah, it's a very good point you make, actually, in terms of like the rivalry between Arsenal and Manchester United. And I agree with you, bro. I feel like we definitely elevated each other. And I feel like, for me personally, this might be a bit biased, but I still think that's the best Premier League rivalry that has ever happened. I just feel like when you look at the two teams, the two managers, and the actual rivalry between the two kind of players within the teams, yeah, like I said, the Vieira or the Keanes or the Thierry or whichever striker Man United had at the time, whether it's Rooney or Van Nistelrooy or Andy Cole or whoever, I feel like for me, it was kind of like, and the thing is as well, like the teams have both like different styles. Like you had kind of the sexy kind of football with Arsenal, the 1-2s and stuff like that. But Man United was a bit more like kind of workmanship, kind of hard working, very like machine like they're gonna get the job done by hook or by crook, whether it's in the last minute or the first minute. So yeah, I think both teams definitely kind of made each other better because they're both so different as well. And you're right, man. When you even look about like FA Cup kind of semi-final, the fact that we missed the penalty, Dennis Bergkamp, you're down to 10 men, the goal you even scored, Giggs is taking on the half of the team. Like, it's just kind of crazy how it kind of turned out, bro. So yeah, definitely agree with that, man. So yeah, obviously you got into that kind of era, the teams, and obviously competing not only with Arsenal, with Chelsea, then later on down with Manchester City. What was your feeling towards kind of the end of Sir Alex Ferguson's reign when he kind of announced that he was leaving? Was it a thing of, oh my God, what we're going to do now? Or were you still confident that he's built such a big legacy that he can still carry it on? Like, what was your kind of feelings after he kind of announced he was leaving, man?
Also, I was sad, you know, because it was like a sort of second father figure, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like you're raised with him sort of thing every single week. And, you know, was it at the time 26 years odd, you know, and but, you know, with the delusionment of football, you think the grass is always greener on the other side, even though it's not, you know, and then I was thinking, we're going to be all right. Don't worry about it. We're going to carry on winning trophies and we'll be all right. Win the league. Don't worry about that. Yeah, David Moyes might be the new Alex Ferguson. And you know, little did we know, you know, 12 years later, we'll be still waiting for another title.
Crazy.
You know, and there you go. And that's what I'm talking about. The grass isn't always greener, you know, and when you've got something good, you've got to keep hold of it. And, you know, and yeah, I wasn't happy that he left, but he had to leave eventually. Obviously, he was getting old, he's getting on. And I'm glad he left the way he did.
Yeah,
we won the league. I'm happy about that. But what I won't give to have him back, you know, even now, do you know what I mean? Because the way things have gone and everything like that, and the direction we've been going in, and we can't stick to a plan, and it's been a mad 12 years, but a humbling experience as well, you know. And the difference between me and Man United, other Man United fans, I've been through this. You know, I've seen it, you know, in a lesser extent during the late 80s and early 90s. I saw it, you know. This is longer, of course, but I felt then, you know, that what I'm feeling now, sort of thing. And this is what's so irritating for me, you know, because football doesn't deal with absolutes. People look at football in a very, very, I think, in a simplistic kind of way. Like, win matches, that's it. We win matches, we'll get these players and we'll win matches, that's it. That's all you need to do. These players are good enough and stuff. When, you know, sometimes it's just not. Alex Ferguson got rid of so many great players. One of my favorite players, Paul McGrath, he got rid of course, you know. And, you know, there were great players that people haven't even heard of. That Remy Moses, for example, was one of my, if you learn about Remy Moses, about him and stuff like that, that they can no longer play for Man United as well. That's slightly after the Alex Ferguson period, but we had to get rid of a lot of good players that were really real fan favorites. And sometimes the team isn't good enough you know, and you have to, as a team, and you have to move on players. And,
Yeah,
you know, I don't think this Man United team is just like taking it forward to today is good enough. And that's the thing. And sometimes just admit that it's not necessarily the tactics. It's not necessarily the manager. It's just that they simply don't have the mentality, or they don't have the talent to do it. And yeah.
It's a good point you make, man, in terms of you actually already being kind of prepared in terms of knowing that Man United are going to have a downward period. Obviously, when the times are good, it's very easy to be like, this is going to last forever, or hope it will do. But yeah, there is going to be a period for, and it happens to every team. It will happen to City. It's happened to Liverpool. Obviously, it happened to Arsenal as well, Chelsea too. Like, there is going to be a period where you're not as good as what you are in your kind of peak and prime years. So it's very important just to kind of enjoy the times where you are winning trophies, and you can celebrate the kind of the players and the manager that does it, man. But yeah, going into obviously that kind of period, like, I mean, the managers you had, David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously Erik ten Hag, Ruben Amorim. Like, what was your kind of stance on all of these managers? Are you kind of a guy who you just kind of back them all? Or was there some managers where you like weren't too sure about when they kind of came in? Or were you kind of just thinking, you know what, if the club thinks this is the right person, we're just going to go for it, and you're just going to back whatever they kind of go for? Like, what's kind of your feelings on kind of all the kind of manager appointments during this period of time?
I mean, David Moyes, obviously you try to tell yourself that it's the right appointment. You try to say, well, you know what, he's managing Everton. Maybe if he goes to Man United, it's better players and stuff. But little did I know what he would do when he went to Man United. And, there's a famous story about Man United won a preseason friendly. I don't know where, but they were abroad. And David Moyes sat on the aeroplane, and then his tie undone and his shirt was undone. He was like, and he laid back on the seat and he went, this is a big club, isn't it? And as he done that, Rio Ferdinand was there, and he thought Rio Ferdinand he said he knew this guy wasn't the guy to manage Man United. He can't handle it. Because you got to understand, like, we had Nemanja Vidic, we had Patrice Evra, we had Rio Ferdinand, Robin van Persie. We had winners in our team, real winners in our team, and Ryan Giggs was still there, Michael Carrick, and it would have took a proper manager to come in. I felt that they made a critical error in employing David Moyes. They should have got someone who can demand the respect, an Ancelotti, someone like that at the time, someone who's won things, won big trophies, Champions Leagues, so he can come into the dressing room and say, listen, I've won what you've won. You can't say anything to me. You know what I mean? And David Moyes is like, another story with David Moyes, it was like he was showing Man United videotapes of Everton defending, and one of the players said, but what have they won? And then another player said, but what have you won? To David Moyes.
Oh, damn.
This is the rumor. And then obviously you've lost the dressing room already. Straight up, what he should have done, and he removed all the backroom staff as well, and he was a bit egotistical for what he did. And what he should have done, he should have went in there and said, on a humble one, and said, listen, I know what you've achieved. I know who you are, but we got to carry on this legacy, and we got to carry on winning things. I am Alex Ferguson's choice, whether you like it or don't or not. I'm the man to take us forward, and I believe I can. I respect what you've achieved. But he went in there and just dismantled the whole backroom staff and everything like that. And from that moment, we made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And it's not just about spending money, because we spent a lot of money. The problem is we didn't have Manchester United people in charge. We had the Glazers, and Alex Ferguson was covering up the Glazers for many years because of his genius. And when new managers came in, they were getting more and more exposed, and they didn't know what their direction to go in. We had David Moyes, then we had was it Louis van Gaal, and then we had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Jose Mourinho, and they're all different types of managers. You know what I mean? And we didn't have one direction, and it's from then a domino effect and of bad decisions, and we're struggling to get it back now, because you don't have that structure there. If you don't have an idea what you want from then, what we should have done, obviously, just bring in a like for like, take out Alex Ferguson, bring in Ancelotti, even getting someone like Klopp, even getting someone like Pep, getting someone of that ilk. Jose Mourinho, even at that time, wouldn't have been a bad shout. We went the wrong direction. So after a few weeks, I sort of knew that this wasn't the manager. We started well. We beat Swansea 4-0, if I remember. And then I was going to games, and then, I was at the City game. We lost 4-1. And then I started to think, we started to lose 3-0s, 4-1s, 2-0, 3-0, and I thought this didn't happen before. What's going on here? You know, and getting slapped up, Man United getting slapped up every single week, and I was like, what is this? I'm not used to this and stuff, you know. And it's surprising how quickly you become accustomed to losing, and it's like if you go from there to like, oh, we're going to lose next week, and you know we're playing City at home, probably lose that one and stuff like that. We had a few good results, but that's exactly what Man United are always been about since then. Isolated results, you know, beating Man City, you know, away from home, beating Man City at home, we're beating everyone, but that don't win you titles. You know, Alex Ferguson could lose against anyone. We could lose 5-0 to Newcastle, 6-3 to Southampton. We're going to win the title. You know, that's all that matters at the end of the season, man. But we weren't. We'll have isolated results, but then we're going to lose to Burnley or going to lose to West Brom, and that's been the theme since then. I think it's like I always bang on about the culture at the football club. The mentality at the football club is the same every single manager. We do the same thing. Deja vu. It's a duplicate of what we've been doing, you know. And whereas Arsenal were doing the same for a little period, they cut it by the by the roots, and they stuck to something. And now they're feeling the fruits of their labor, definitely. And Arteta was allowed to do what he was allowed to do, getting rid of fan favourites, Aubameyang and players of that ilk. And when you look at Arteta's team from 5 years ago and you look at it now, it's a completely different team, completely different. And this is a thing with Man United where we've got players from 2013-14, you know, who sacked various managers, you know, sacked multiple managers. You know, we've got players there 6-7 years who sacked multiple managers. Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford have been there since 2013.
Damn.
You know what I mean? It's madness. We shouldn't have no players from that period. None.
Yeah.
You know, Luke Shaw, Deo Dallo's been there 7-8 years. You know, Maguire's been there now, 6 years? And, you know, these things, they need to change. I mean, you can't squeeze water out of a stone. You can't teach a player to be a certain player at a certain age. You can't turn Maguire into Maldini. You can't do that. It's never going to happen, which this is what Man United have been doing again and again. So, look, you know, but at that time, when we employed David Moyes, I was maybe overly zealous, but I was confident, but deep down I was a little bit cautious as well. I thought, oh, we're going to get it. If this doesn't work, we're going to get it, you know, definitely. And I couldn't have envisioned, though, 12 years without a title, never.
Yeah, for sure, man. If you would have told me as well, like after the Invincibles, we're not going to win a title for over 20 years, I would have laughed. I'm like, well, no way. We've literally just gone the whole season unbeaten. It's crazy how quick it goes, man. When you talk about yourself, 30 years, even like Chelsea's like nearly coming up to 10. Obviously, Liverpool had the 30. Man City had, 40, 50. So, yeah, bro, it can really be a long time until you can kind of get yourself in that kind of mind frame where you can challenge for the league and then win the league. Big old Kenny Fan TV says Moyes and Ollie were the wrong managerial appointments. Pick up yourself. Make sure you go follow Sal on Stratford Post. Obviously, the link is in the description and in the title and in the chat as well, man. So make sure you go over and do that, man. So yeah, we'll obviously fast forward to this season, man. Well, we'll go to last season actually, obviously, because again, Ruben Amorim came in mid-season. And obviously it wasn't a great season. You lost obviously the Europa League final to Spurs and then finished 15th in the league. So what was your kind of expectations going into this season? Obviously with Amorim still in charge, were you thinking, okay, can we just kind of because I feel like you had a very good summer in terms of signings and stuff with Mbeumo and Cunha and obviously Sesko coming in. What's your feelings of can we try and get back into Europe, or is it a thing where we just need to kind to, like you said, be consistent with that results and stuff? Because again, like you said, Man United for the last, I don't know, since you last won the league, have just become like a bit of a cup team where one-off games like the game last week you can get up for and you're reporting an amazing performance, and then you'll drop points to Wolves at home or Burnley away or something where you think, how are we dropping points there? So yeah, what's your feelings going into the start of this season, and then what's your thoughts about obviously the Amorim sacking and stuff? Was it too soon? Was it did he have too long? Like, what's your kind of feelings on that, bro?
I was always backing the manager because I understood the cultural problems within the football club, the problems that he walked into on the football club, the off-field issues, not only the on-field issues, but the off-field issues. He wasn't perfect. He made a lot of mistakes. However, I would blame the board for that. They knew what Ruben Amorim was, what kind of manager he was, what tactics he plays. They knew that when they brought him in, and they didn't back him with the players that he needed to implement those tactics effectively. For example, yes, we got Mbeumo, we got Cunha, and we got Sesko, and a last-minute goalkeeper. But we also lost Rashford, Anthony, Varane, Rasmus as well. We lost all those players as well. We didn't fix the squad. And his system relied heavily on wing backs. We didn't buy any wing backs for him. We didn't buy any midfielders, which is the engine of the team. We're using Bruno as that midfield. Now, look, I'm not saying that he's exempt. The results speak for themselves. And, football is a results business, unfortunately. I believed it would have worked eventually. I saw changes in Man United. We were third in XG on goals, third in XG on assists. And, we were starting to dominate games. And we weren't scoring the goals. We weren't getting those. We lost 2 in 11 games. It weren't like sacking form. But, we weren't really... From the first game of the season, we played very well against Arsenal. We were unfortunate to lose. Mistake from the goalkeeper. If we signed Senny Lamens before, we probably wouldn't have made that mistake. That might have been a draw, and things like that. So I would say that it was unfortunate for Ruben Amorim. Again, there's a loud minority in the Man United fan base that wanted him out, and they haven't got the patience to persevere to see it through. Our board is the problem. Maybe Ruben Amorim might have been the right guy at the wrong time. I've always said, and we're going back to basics, and the basics is counter-attacking football. And this is what people don't understand, is that it's not easy, but it's much more a simplified way of playing football. Alex Ferguson could play a counter-attacking football well when he would go away to Arsenal, when he would go, like if you watch Arsenal against Man United, I know Alex Ferguson, we countered Arsenal many times, especially at the Emirates. You think about the Champions League, think about those games where we run in with Rooney and Giggs and Nani and players like that. But the key to a great manager is a manager who can unlock doors, who can, beat the low block, which is going to be the Fulhams, the Wolves, the Bournemouths, the West Hams. They're going to be those teams. There's a lot of those teams. And that's when you see the wood from the trees. This is what Ruben Amorim was trying to change. He's trying to make us into a more of a dominant team, like a Barcelona. And that takes time. And 14 months isn't enough. Just 3 players isn't enough. And I feel like it's over now. He's going to go on to do whatever he wants. Surprised no mention of him. He hasn't said anything since then. That's something very telling, And I wanted him to stay. We had some good results. One away at Liverpool this season, one away at Palace. Beating Chelsea, beating Newcastle. These are not easy games. And we won these games. And yes, we beat Man City on the counter attack, but so did we beat Man City under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more than one occasion. We beat Man City in an FA Cup final with Erik ten Hag. A better Man City side. You know what I mean? And I just feel like we're a little bit impatient as a fan base, and hopefully Carrick does something this season. We've got 16 games left. Every one of those games is an FA Cup final starting on Sunday. I won't judge him for Sunday. I won't, because obviously it's Arsenal. Arsenal could be anyone. Right now, so I would judge him on the Fulham games, the West Ham games, the Bournemouth games, and things like that. So, but yeah, look, I was disappointed that Ruben got sacked. I just feel like when you can see something and you can see something changing, but people can't see it, it's very difficult to explain, because obviously I witnessed it in the late 80s and the 90s. People go, "Oh, it's different," but football hasn't changed that much. Trust me, it hasn't. It's just commercialized better now, and I could see things changing. The great thing about Ruben Amorim is that he was a disciplinarian, and he was trying to change the culture at the football club in regards to the misbehavior and things like that. We can get away with anything now. What Kobe Mainoo done, his brother did. He got away with it, and he's fine now. Don't worry about it now. It's fine. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Leaking to the media, Luke Shaw, things like that, leaking teams to the media. That's fine. We can go back to that and we can carry on, and we'll see, innit? We'll see. I hope it's different to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but I'm not holding my breath, to be honest with you. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer went on a record run when he came in. And then obviously when he signed that contract, we down-tooled again and started losing 4-1 to Watford and things like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I hear you, bro. I agree with you, man. I think the board is definitely the biggest problem, because like you were saying, if you're going to appoint someone like Ruben Amorim, you have to give him literally what he wants. He needs a particular kind of skill set in terms of player-wise. He needs wing-backs. He needs a certain amount of centre-backs. He needs kind of midfielders that can do more than one job, that can get up and down the pitch. And I feel like, again, you kind of gave him some good plays in defence and some good ones in attack, but then the midfield was always lacking as well. And obviously, like you said, in this current climate, man, the kind of attention to detail in terms of fans giving managers time is literally second to none now. Like, you're not going to get a lot of time, especially because of how he ended last season with Man United finishing so low, and again losing the cup final to obviously to Spurs. So yeah, man, I think the writing was always obviously against him. He had to really make a great start, and I feel like you said the start was decent. Like you were still only a couple of points off.
3 points from fourth, mate.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So it wasn't like he was like down the bottom again, but I just feel like there was just so much like kind of rapport to kind of get back from last season where fans just expected you to play the best football in the league and win majority of the games. And
but this is the thing, Topps. People have this preconception of what Man United were. They have this DNA thing, right? Between 1958, which was the Busby Babes, and the late 60s, Man United only brought through 14 young players from the class of 92, pre-1992, from 1958, 1960s. We only brought through 14 and not all of them made it because the pressure was on them. Yeah. We have this preconception about young players because we've had a young player on the bench since the 1930s. And I think a lot of people are a little bit disillusioned by what the problems are at Man United and the problems having in the past and how we're going to overcome those problems. If we carry on doing the same thing, which we've done now, we're doing exactly the same thing. We got Ole, now we got Carrick, you know, it's just going to be a deja vu. We're going to be on a repetitive cycle. It's just going to keep going round and round. Obviously, I hope that isn't the case. I hope that Carrick magically becomes this guy. You know, leaks are starting to come out again about the manager, you know, beating the man when he's down again, you know, and it's ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous. But I hope it changes. And that's, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But I won't hold my breath, man.
Yeah, so what's kind of your feelings with that kind of the permanent job? Are you hoping Carrick gets it at the end of the season, or is there another manager you're kind of eyeing up thinking we need to go for this guy now to kind of turn it all around? Because again, it's just kind of like a merry-go-round at this moment in time, man.
Yeah. I think the only guy I look at is Luis Enrique at the moment for me. Either Luis Enrique, or if we can get Ancelotti after the World Cup, maybe Ancelotti, or obviously De Zerbi let me down the other day. I thought he was very negative against Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I've gone off Ancelotti a little bit, but I've not Ancelotti, De Zerbi a little bit, but in regards to that, it would be Luis Enrique. But if Michael Carrick gets us to the Champions League, I know for a fact they're going to give him the job. Yeah, they're going to give him the job. They're not, because he's cheap. You know, they don't have to do anything. You don't have to persuade anyone. He's not going to answer to the board. He's not going to be outspoken. They're going to give him the job, and the fans are going to be making songs about him and stuff like that. You know, and it's going to be very difficult for them to get rid of Michael Carrick, because if they do get rid of Michael Carrick, if he qualifies for the Champions League, get a new manager in, and he fails, then they're going to say, "Oh, you should have kept Michael Carrick." You know, it's a no-win situation.
It's a very good point you make, man. And that's one thing I kind of thought when you kind of made him interim to the end. It's like, well, if he does a good job, and like you said, we've seen this with Ollie, where he wasn't supposed to get the job either, but he went on such an amazing run that people were saying, like, I remember Rio Ferdinand saying, sign the contract and stuff like that, and then you signed him, and then obviously it didn't work out. So yeah, man, going to be interesting to see what you actually do in the summer, but I think it is kind of dependent on where you kind of finish in the season, and obviously you're at all the competitions in terms of cup wise, so you just kind of focus on top four and see if you can try and get back into the Champions League. But yeah, that obviously goes on to the game. Also versus Manchester United at the Emirates, man. What's your feelings on the game, bro? You had a very good win against Manchester City. I watched the games in the live, watched along for it. You probably should have won about 6-0. Can't even lie. You absolutely tore them apart. Obviously, Arsenal drew 0-0 away to Nottingham Forest in the league, but then had a very good win and performance away at Inter Milan. So yeah, what's your kind of thoughts going into the game? Are you confident? Do you think there's kind of weaknesses of Arsenal that you can exploit? Like, what's the kind of thought process of you as a Man United fan in terms of going into this game, bro?
The good thing about this Arsenal side, what I think is different to any other Arsenal side over the last 5 to 10 years, is that Arsenal can transition this time. They can go into a defensive side. They can go into an attacking side when they want to. They got so many strings to their bow. I know what Man United are going to do. It's very simple. They're just going to sit back and hope for the counter-attack with Mbeumo and Cunha, or Mbeumo and Fernandes and, who's the other guy? Cunha up front.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Man United are going to try and do. You're going to try and stifle Arsenal and counter-attack them. However, the biggest concern for me is Arsenal can win dirty. You know, they can do the crosses. They could get the corners in, and they can win 1-0 with a header, from a corner, Gabriel from a corner. They can do things like that. And we're not very good at corners, So you can have the low block. You can have your counter-attacking football all you like. And this is why I said that Arteta he reminds me of a modern day Alex Ferguson, because Alex Ferguson would win games with corners. We won a treble with corners, and people forget that. We won, Solskjaer and Sheringham and stuff like that. we would bring up Schmeichel up front. Every single part of football matters. If it can win you the game, it doesn't matter how you win it, by hook or by crook, you win in the game. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how. You can't play pretty football all the time.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Man United is that we have one way and that's it. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal sat back and said, okay, come at us and see what you can do, unlock us. And then when the time comes, you're going to hit us. And that's my biggest worry, and work on set pieces as well and win the game. That's the only way Man United could win is if they pick off Arsenal. We tried to do it last season. Kind of worked. We've done it a lot over the years, obviously with Rashford up front and doing the counter-attacking, taking the lead, then end up losing the game, But we've done this for years, and I think Arsenal are going to be prepared for it this time. I think they're not going to be. They know what we're going to try and do, and they're going to call our bluff, to be honest with you. And they'll probably sit back themselves and say, okay, come at us, and then we're going to try, and come at Arsenal, and then they're going to obviously try and counter-attack us. And obviously, Arsenal got dangerous players. Arsenal are probably the best team in Europe at the moment, and fair play to them. They've done very, very well to get to that point when it was so toxic. There was a time when I thought there was no way back for Arsenal. What's going on with Arsenal? Even 10 years ago, but now they've really changed the narrative, and they've shown the Premier League that how you could be rewarded by backing your manager, by believing in the philosophy, by all collectively going for one goal, and whether you came second or you came third, or or you're not winning trophies, you can see that Arsenal will get there, and that's the difference. When you can see something happening, and believe it or not, I know people might say I'm delusional and blind. I could start to see things happening with Amorim, but I could see something happening with Arsenal, and now that Man City are rebuilding, apparently they're rebuilding, the third team they're rebuilding. I could see Arsenal, if they win the league this season, it's a bit like when Man City won the league in 2012. Once you get that taste, you go over the line. It takes a little bit of luck sometimes. You can go on that run. Man United got that. Steve Bruce, 96 minutes, 1992, 93. You know what I mean? They, 96 minutes winning the game in last minute. You have to have a bit of luck. And the thing about Arsenal is they had these mistakes, they had these errors in their team that you could exploit. Bit by bit, they fixed those errors, they fixed those parts. They're like building a machine that is not going to make the mistakes that they made in the past. This is why, it's all well and good saying that we're going to go to Arsenal, we're going to counter Arsenal, we're going to sit the low block. But Arsenal can win now with different ways. They can, they can win with a corner, and that's the difference now. And not to say that you're not a good footballing side, because you are. And I just feel like it's going to be a difficult game for Man United. And I feel like if Man United come out of that game unscathed, if we manage to get a draw, I'll be very happy with that, and we can go on to the Fulham game and see what we can do from there. But it's going to take a monumental effort. We are not rubbish. We've got good players. I just feel like there's a few players in that side mentally who could collapse at any given moment. We did it last season against Arsenal. So I wish the boys luck, but it's going to be a tough game, and I hope we can just come out of that game unscathed and go on to the next one.
Yeah, man, just to cover on your point, I think you made some great points there, man, in terms of counter-attacking and stuff. I feel like, for me, seeing how Arteta kind of adapts to certain kind of oppositions, I think the last time you actually beat us in the league was Rashford scoring those 2 goals at Old Trafford. You beat us 3-1, and I feel like that's probably the last time we've played kind of like a high line against you guys. Ever since that game, I feel like we've just... And that's why I think the games between us in the Premier League are kind of a bit stalemate-ish, because I feel like, again, we kind of just try and get you to kind of come on to us, but then we normally do score a lot of corners against you. I've seen the goals we've scored, like Calafiori this season. Last season, it was Timber and Saliba at the Emirates when we beat you 2-0. The season before, Declan Rice scored in the last minute from a corner when we beat you 3-1. So it's like every season we at least score one corner, whether it's home or away. So I do feel like you're right. I feel like the games where it's either also against you guys at the Emirates, we kind of try and not get in the position where you're kind of counter-attacking us. The couple of times you still have done, I remember obviously Rashford scoring in back-to-back games at the Emirates in like a counter-attacking fashion in that transition. So it's definitely a massive, massive plus for you guys. And I feel like you definitely got the players with Bruno Fernandes and Buemo Cunha, Sesko, all very good on that kind of transition counter-attack. So yeah, I think in terms of the game, I don't know if it's going to be the most exciting one, because I feel like we probably will kind of not sit back, but be a bit more cautious, not really commit too many people forward. Try and ask some questions of you guys. Can you break down a low block, like you said? And I think for us, we're kind of trying to utilize kind of our main kind of attacking option, which is the corners, man. Scored from a corner in the week against Inter, scored against Chelsea the week before. So we do tend to score a lot of corners, man. So yeah, if it's a kind of an avenue we can go down there, and I feel like it's a kind of probably the best way we're probably going to beat you, because I feel like if it is end-to-end, I think it's going to be a very tight game, because you have got players that can definitely hurt us in transition, man. But yeah, big up BBK Sports. He says, just subscribe to Stratford Post. Big up, fellas. Big up, bro, for supporting the guys, and supporting Sal. Anfield says, United fans need to remember that Ruben Amorim also won his first Manchester derby. By the way, Topps, how do you find an unbiased Man United fan? Rare. Big up Anfield as well. And he said, same, he's subscribed as well to Stratford Post. Make sure you guys do subscribe to Sal, man. Very good at things on his channel over them sides. Big old Kenny fan, obviously Man United fan. It says, my main worry is Dallo against Trossard. So yeah, what is kind of your kind of starting lineup you think Carrick's going to pick, bro? Like, who would you pick, or who do you think is going to get picks for the game at the Emirates, my guy?
I think he's going to pick the same team, actually. I think the same team against City will be Selly Lamens in goal, Licha Martinez left side as centre-back. It'll be Maguire as the centre-back on the right side. Probably be Dallo on the right. It'll be on the left-hand side. Who did we play on the left-hand side again? So we played Dallo on the right, Licha Martinez, Maguire, and Luke Shaw. And then we'll have probably Mainu and Casemiro in the midfield, with Dorgu on the left, Mbeumo up front, Fernandes in the centre, and Ahmad on the right. So Ahmad's another one that we can counter well with. Obviously, he's quick, and he can do some damage as well. So hopefully he can, but that's probably the team that we'll pick. Same, I can't see Carrick changing the winning side. I really can't. Carrick's main duty this season is to win football matches, and I think once he's got the formula, or he thinks he's got the formula, I think he's going to stick to it, to be honest. Yeah,
it makes sense, man. Makes sense. I think in terms of us, I think it's probably going to be similar to what you said in terms of Arteta not really changing kind of a winning formula. I'm thinking it's going to be, I mean, to be fair, I did see some news that Calafiori and Nkapie are back in training, so maybe one of them might start, probably Nkapie, I would say. But yeah, probably Nkapie left back, Raya in goal, obviously, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber right back. Then I'll probably go, Arteta will probably go Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, and then up front, Saka on the right, Trossard on the left, and probably Gyökeres. I don't know. It's a toss-up between Gyökeres and obviously Jesus. Jesus had a very good game, obviously, against Inter Milan in midweek, scoring 2 very good goals. But obviously, Gyökeres came on and scored a very good goal as well. So will he want to kind of still trust Gyökeres as his first choice? Maybe. I don't know if Jesus can do 2 games in a week starting, because obviously he just come out from that ACL. So probably will be Gyökeres, man. But yeah, going to be an interesting game, man. Big up Fuzi as well in the building, my bros. Like and share, subscribe to all. Big up yourself, bro. If you all go subscribe to Fuzi as well. So yeah, only thing left is the score prediction, bro. What's kind of your final score prediction? What do you think the game's going to end up as?
Bro, I've never ever predicted that Man United are going to lose. If it's down to me, Man United wouldn't have lost in 40 years, probably. So I'll probably say I'm going with a dour 0-0 draw.
Okay. I can see it. To be fair, we've not scored in the last 2 Premier League games. They've both been 0-0. So that's probably kind of the template. Maybe you should probably kind of go off, in terms of trying to nullify us, making us. Because again, even if we kind of sit back, because we're at the Emirates, the crowd is going to get come on, we need to kind of win the game kind of thing. So it might actually play into your hands a little bit. So that might be the way to go, man. In terms of me, I feel like it's going to be a tight game. I think, if anything, it'll be 1 goal in it. I'm going to go Arsenal 1-0, probably from a corner or something. Gabriel, someone
94
like that.
Minutes.
That's it. Yeah, literally, that is it, man. And I would just take the 3 points and go out, because I do feel like this is probably the worst time to play Man United, considering the momentum and the kind of uplifting from their fan base, and even the team after that fantastic performance against Manchester City, and obviously the new manager as well coming in as an interim. So yeah, man. But hopefully, again, fingers crossed, we kind of win the league, you kind of get into the Champions League, and then we both can come on at the end of the season being very, very happy, man. So, but yeah, man, big up Sal for being on the channel. Big up yourself. Talk to the people, Sal. Let them know where they can find you, and if you've got anything planned coming up in the near future, my bro.
Oh yeah, just you can find me on Stratford Post on the screen. Just Stratford Post. Normally, I'm live every morning, 7 a.m. UK time, and usually 3 p.m. UK time as well. Yeah, every single day I'm live, and the watch-alongs, of course, I'm there as well. But thanks for having me, Topps, man. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. been great.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you for coming on. It's been a really good show. Really enjoyed it, man. And I look forward to obviously seeing your reaction after the game and stuff like that. So yeah, make sure you go over and subscribe to Sal. Make sure you subscribe to me as well, like the video and stuff like that. And yeah, till next time, till the Arsenal versus Man United game on Sunday. I'm out, people. Peace and love.